Welcome to Over the Edge. I'm your host, Kimberly Rankin. Okay, so today we are going to talk about the energy of moving beyond fear. I have some experience with this. This podcast is actually the epitome of moving beyond fear. And what do I mean by that? Okay, so not only are we going to be talking about a multitude of things from religion, spirituality, to society, to dating, relationships, politics, and every gambit in between, okay? But today, I wanted to kick today's episode off with the energy of moving beyond fear, the things that hold us in place that keep us so stuck from creating anything new, creating anything better. So let's talk about how to get out of that. First of all, recognizing that maybe we're stuck in that type of pattern or we're stuck in that type of energy. And, I'm going to use myself for example. I worked corporate America for the longest time. I'd say until I was about 41 years old. I worked in corporate America and had a pretty solid background in that, but I was bored. I was so bored. I'm a natural creator, natural leader. I love getting into the energy of creating things, trying things out. I'm an artist at heart as well. So, there's this energy to always be creating and to always be moving. And for me, I felt very stagnant. I wasn't happy. There was always this glass ceiling, so to speak, on, especially being a female, there's a glass ceiling that's kind of placed upon us when it comes to some of the things that we've been able to do in the past, and the amount of income that we could receive from those things. And I may get some flack about that, but let's just look at the historics of it. Women have been paid less money for the exact same job sometimes as men. So I acknowledged that, and I saw that and saw for myself, if I ever wanted to create something greater for my future and for my children, then, and to leave a legacy behind, then I needed to step out of my comfort zone and do something different. And so that's exactly what I did. I had started up a business. I left corporate America, left it a few years ago, and started up my own business, designing jewelry and handmade bath and body products. And it kind of started from there because, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to do something that was good for the other people in the communities, something that they could, their bodies could profit from, and something that they could enjoy. And that was something that I found enjoyment out of as well. So it was a huge leap for me to leave corporate America. And I use this as a great example as far as like leading into this conversation, because I had the fear. I was a single parent. I had this fear of, what if I fail? What if I don't make it? What if, all these what ifs. And at the end of the day, I could have just pondered upon all of the what ifs and stayed in that fear and remained immobilized, and it would have done me absolutely no good. I would have been, in the same place, making the same amount of money for forever and ever, or until they found that I was, replaceable. And by the way, everyone is replaceable when it comes to jobs and employment, right? The key is to find something that you enjoy, something that you love, something that lights you up, something that brings you such fulfillment that, that is what lights your soul up. So for me, I lost my light. My light was dimmed from being in corporate America. I wanted more. I wanted more for my children. I wanted more for my life. And so I, created my own business, stepped out on my own, absolutely no financial backing, and built a business from scratch. And it was a lot of work and a lot of fulfillment. I found a lot of joy. I learned and discovered a lot about myself and what it takes to actually be an entrepreneur and, start something from nothing. And so there was, like I said, there was a lot of fear behind that. of like, what if I fail? What if what if I can't do this? And really the thing that we should be asking is, what would happen if you didn't? What would happen if you didn't take that leap of faith in yourself, in the universe having your back? What would happen if you stayed? Sometimes we don't look at the detriments of how that fear has a setting in place of, stress and anxiety and depression. And, those things that are almost self-inflicted, right? The energies of, we have the certain, let me kind of back up there. We have a moment of, when I say self-infliction, we always have choice. And if we choose to stay in an environment, relationship, job, career, whatever that be, knowing that it causes our body stress, knowing that it causes us anxiety, knowing that we're depressed and that there's something more, we feel this calling that there's something more, and we choose to actively stay there, that is self-infliction. So when we learn to break out of, out of that energy, out of the stress, out of the ideology of there's fear, there's failure, there's this energy that's going to hold me captive or self-sabotage, right? When we move beyond that, we actually can create so much greater for ourselves. So when I personally chose to move beyond this fear, move beyond this energy of, of what if I fail, and I asked the question, so what if I do fail? Okay, great. I'm going to take that as a learning experience. And I think sometimes people see failure as, the end all of whatever they were trying to create. But, if we look at the great inventors and engineers and scientists and, people in this world who have just produced such great movements, failure was part of that. They were able to take the pieces and look at them and learn and do something different the next time. That's just it. We have this opportunity to learn from our past, learn from the failures, learn from the things that maybe we feel are the broken pieces of our life. Take it, you can analyze it. And I'm going to say you can analyze it, but don't get stuck in it, right? And move forward. Okay, those are our lessons learned. So we're going to move forward beyond that fear, beyond what we considered a failure, and we're going to create something successful for ourselves. And I would like to kind of add a little note here is that what you consider a success for yourself should be that of yourself, not what society defines it as. It's the things that make you happy. It's the things that light you up. It's the things that bring you closer to what you're asking for. That is how you should define your success. A lot of people get caught in the idea of success is the amount of money you have in your bank account. And they fail to see the community and the lives that they touch along the way. I'm asking you to measure all of it, not just the money in your bank account, but to measure the lives of and the improvement of the lives of the communities that surround you, including your own. So, I want to get into another episode maybe of delving into, past and letting go of the past. But today I think it is really important to look at moving beyond fear and having the energy of that we're not stuck in where we are in life right now. Okay. We're not stuck. We can always choose to take action. That's the great thing about free will, is that we have the ability to choose what direction we want to take in our lives. And some people may think that they don't have a choice, but that's just simply not true. If you have this calling and this pull, this energetic pull, this knowing that your life is supposed to be better, well, guess what, darlings? It is absolutely supposed to be better than where you're at right now. And don't sit on the energy of it not getting any better or changing, because we can always change. If anything that we've learned throughout history is that things can change in the matter of seconds, okay? Things can absolutely shift and change for you. The key is to be willing to go after what you desire, to go after what you are seeking. Because more often than not, what you are seeking in life has actually been calling for you and seeking you as well. That goes for jobs. You know, you may be wanting a certain type of job or a certain career move, and you have this certain skill set, and those people, those corporations, those whatever small businesses, those ideas, those teams may be seeking a candidate just like you, because there's this opportunity that only you can fulfill. There's something that you bring to the team. There's something that you bring to the table that no one else can bring. You know, if you walk away from this podcast today from anything, is that I want you to know that you are worth more than your past. You are worth more than what anyone else has ever deemed you to be, including yourself. You are so worth the greatness that is available in this lifetime. And let no one tell you any differently, including your own self-talk. So be unafraid of moving forward. A lot of us, the reason why I call this podcast Over the Edge is because a lot of us stand on the edge, on the precipice of greatness for so long, just peering over, because we know that if we just take that single step, if we just take that jump, that leap of faith, that it will create something so much greater for ourselves. Yet we remain on the edge. So I implore you to step over the edge of fear. Step over the edge of everything that you've ever known, and to really dive into what your future could possibly be, and taking the steps to get there. Because it's not just asking for things. It's not just, making plans or wishful thinking. It's about taking inspired action. It's about taking those baby steps. Climbing a ladder is one ringlet at a time, right? One ring at a time. You climb up one step at a time to get to the top. So I'm asking you to step over the edge so you can get to the top of your life, and then keep going. What you think is the top, and then keep going. Keep creating. Keep moving beyond that. Keep really pushing forward and allowing yourself to receive. And it's going to take breaking out of some indoctrination that you've had, some ideology, belief structure that you've had for yourself or that you've bought into. It's going to take you moving beyond everything that you've ever known and getting into the uncomfortable, vast space of more. The universe is always expanding. And if the universe is always expanding and getting bigger and getting greater, and you are part, and I know that we've probably heard the whole saying that we are part of the universe. The universe is us. We are the universe is us. And if that's the case, the universe is always expanding and getting greater, and there's these new discoveries and new things being created in every single second, then wouldn't it be our duty as being creators and the living universe that we be? Wouldn't it just make sense for us to just grasp into that whole concept of that we can create greater for ourselves in every single moment, every single breath? And what if perhaps when we create greater for ourselves, that we are actually creating greater for the communities, that we're actually creating greater for someone else, that we are expanding so much that it shows someone else that it's okay to go after their dreams, to not just chase their dreams, but to be their dreams, to actually fulfill it, to step into it, and then to start creating more beyond that. So this podcast in a way, for me, is me stepping out of my comfort zone. I've never done anything like this, a podcast. There's a whole learning curve with it. This is episode 1. There's this whole learning curve that I get to explore, that I get to be. Yes, I have a YouTube channel. I've made videos, and getting in front of a camera is no big deal for me. So now it's kind of like me getting behind a microphone and sharing it in different types of platforms. But this is something new to me. This is something that I get to learn, and it's very exciting. And at the same time, I have no idea what this is going to create for my future, other than it felt really light to be able to do this. It didn't feel heavy or oppressive. It felt exactly the opposite. It felt very freeing, very, very expansive. And so when we start looking at the things that we want to create in the world, let's start asking those questions. One, does this get me closer to where I want to be? Okay. And then we start asking the question of, what will this create? Will this create greater? Does this have the possibility of creating greater for myself and for the communities? And what value will this add to my life? Does this add value to my life? Do I find enjoyment? Does this lighten me up? And if all of those things feel light, or it feels yes, or you feel, it feels right. And we'll get into intuition and things like that in other episodes. But, if something feels light and it feels right for you, and your gut instinct says, yes, do this. Follow it. Don't sit on it. Don't wait. Be willing to go over the edge. Be willing to step over the edge of that fear, of that line that's been drawn in the sand for you by society. Be willing for it to look different than anyone else has ever done. Be willing for it to look the same. Be willing for it to be whatever it's going to be. But be willing to step beyond everything that you've ever known, to have everything that you have ever wanted. And my dear friends, on that note, I do believe that I'm going to close today's episode with these final thoughts. Have the fear, acknowledge it, and do it anyway. Move beyond anything that's holding you back. Be willing to speak your truth. Be willing to be yourself. And be willing to love the life that you are creating. So until next time, I wish you all much love and light.